Buzz Live. Buzz, 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 buzz. It's Blake's Buzz Live. Buzz, 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 buzz. It's Blake's Buzz Live. More, hate less, read comics. It's Blake's Buzz Live.
Buzz, buzz, babies.
Buzz, buzz, babies, and welcome to Blake's Buzz Live. I've got some returning guests. I got Matt Knowles and Steph Cannon in the house. Their Kickstarter is wrapping up. They were supposed to be on last week, but Google had other plans and we had a fiber issue in the neighborhood, so we had to reschedule. We got 48 hours to get you people to head over and get into this clubhouse that is full of some wonderful misfits that have wonderful adventures. I know a lot of people, I sure don't, but a lot of people have children. And if you like comics and you're trying to kind of maybe find some comics that your kids can get into and, don't have rampant beheadings and violence and poor, language that maybe, I love it. I love all that shit, right? But, maybe not the best for all ages mentality. And this is a great way to experience comics with a younger audience, whether that be like, kids, nephews, nieces, what if you do work at a one of those, what are they called?
Daycare centers.
Yeah, like something like that, man. This is a cool comic. It's funny. The jokes are great. I love the art. Like it's so cool and it's so interesting. By the way, I'm just ranting. How are you both doing tonight? I forgot.
Doing good. We're doing good. We were joking earlier off camera about how I should have worn my Niners gear to go up against your world champs Kansas City gear there, but yeah. There's a little bit of
no,
at least we weren't in the Super Bowl this time, so it hurts just a little less.
What is it? Because I always wear a hat, but like a couple weeks ago, I had an Eagles fan on the show, and he was like, I knew I should have worn my jersey, and I was like, I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. Your team is solid. It's not their fault.
you could rock the Andy Reid on a daily basis.
Oh my God, that was amazing.
Man? Why not?
We were laughing so hard at those because you look so much like him.
Yeah, it's yeah. When I do the mustache deal, what sucks is I can't shave. Like when I use a razor, like my skin, I get like razor burn and my skin breaks out. So like I can only do like the grody nasty, like buzz it, and for like a day it looks okay, right? And then the next day it's like I have to like do that.
Why is that?
I don't know. I'm so loaded with testosterone. I'm such an alpha fucking male. I'm
a big Patrick Mahomes fan, so I like seeing old people.
Even though he's a Dolphins fan.
Hey, I'm a huge Dolphins fan, but I also I'm on a college fantasy football podcast, CFBDynasty.com, and I play college fantasy football. So I've been a fan of Patrick Mahomes since he was a freshman. Since he was a freshman at Texas Tech, and so I remember seeing all of his crazy games. 800 yards in college, just crazy performances, and all the talk about him. Maybe he's not going to be very good in the pros because all those Texas Tech and Houston quarterbacks are system quarterbacks. They're Andre Ware Part 2, and they're not going to be good. I'm like, no, Patrick Mahomes is the real freaking deal. So seeing him go to the pros and be what he is now is pretty amazing.
Yeah,
I love that now that Brady has officially retired. Now people are like, "Oh, Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league right now," and I'm like, "Yeah, he was last year too, while Brady was still playing." But
so two things. I didn't know that you could do college fantasy football, and two. You guys have Tyreek now, and have you seen that video where they're asking Tyreek about like what he thought when he met Patrick Mahomes, and Tyreek admits to like being at practice, and he was like, Andy, this is the guy? Like, are you fucking kidding me? And Tyreek was like talking shit on him like the first few practices, and then Tyreek was like, I mean, yeah, it's good to be wrong, but yeah, at first Tyreek had like no faith in him whatsoever.
Oh yeah. I think a lot of people did. Well, it's crazy because you were saying, I didn't know until, and Matt and I play in a fantasy football league too, which, side note, I won last year.
I was the champ 2 years ago.
He was the champ 2 years ago.
I bequeathed the championship to her.
But he started talking about he's in like 7 leagues. It's crazy. But
5
I'm
pro,
like,
2
college fantasy
college.
football sounds so stressful and like so much work. I couldn't do it. I could not do it. I listened to the work that he puts into keeping up with his leagues, and it's crazy. And he has college to pro leagues. So that's why he's a Mahomes fan, you know, because
legit. I had guys that would go to like because I'm in Florida, so there'd be guys that would go to like the high school all-star games. And I remember dudes literally scouting Julio Jones when he was in high school.
That's so crazy.
And they're like, dude, I need to get that guy because I want him on my pro team. And legit, we're able to get him as a freshman going into college and kept him all the way to the pros.
Yeah, I had no idea you could do stuff like
It's crazy.
That. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's like
well, it's just like baseball fantasy. There's fantasy baseball too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how the hell do you keep up with 160 games a year?
Yeah, that's a commitment.
Yeah, it is.
I got burned out. Like, so I commissioned a league for a couple of years with our friends, and my buddy's neighbor and his wife cheated. They were like, everybody paid. It was a 10-team league. Everybody paid $50. So it was like winner got $450. Second place got your money back, got $50. And so like decent pot. And this guy and his wife cheated, and they would like swap players back and forth and like manipulate the waiver wire. And I had to be the asshole and be like, you guys can't do this. Like this.
Yeah.
There's like money on the table. Like we're all supposed to be friends and stuff. And it really like ruined it for me. And so like now my sister and brother-in-law are about to be brother-in-law. Like they all play with my friends, and I haven't the last couple of years. I haven't, because like this keeps me busy. And so it's just like I can only handle like so many distractions because I'm already the most unorganized person. Like I finally, after 2 years, I finally bought a planner, right, to like actually write down when people are coming on my show. And I mean, luckily there's only been like 2 times where I forgot I had a show. or like got sick and forgot to cancel or something. Right?
We've done some shows where not you, but we've done some shows where we've been forgotten about. It happens. You know what? We forget stuff too, so it's okay.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I know everybody's tuning in to talk about football because we all miss it. The Super Bowl was great.
Right.
Sorry, everybody.
What do we do? But we're here to talk about Misfitz Clubhouse, and I'm really excited for it. Because you guys have a new character named Bruce, and Bruce is my little dog, my dog now, who's he's absolutely spoiled. Like we make his food, we make his treats, but anyways, Bruce has weaseled his way into our hearts, and we used to have a few dogs. Now he's the only one, and so he gets like double spoiled. But I automatically, I was like, okay, a shark named Bruce, done, sold. And we'll pull it up later. Like you guys always have like cool clothing and leather stuff. I love the socks. Oh my god! Like I can't wait. I love that the socks were included in that. But it was interesting to me well, first of all, I didn't know that this previously came out at the Scoot imprint at Scout, which is awesome. But now this new issue is coming onto Kickstarter, and it's doing well. So everything's good to go. But of course you're at the 48-hour mark, right? So now you're getting the last minute. Everybody's getting the reminder emails, and you're getting a new spark in engagement and stuff. So that's exciting, and I just really had fun reading about these Misfit characters, and it surprised me too, because like after reading like the Isildur stuff, like it's so dark and violent and gritty, and then I'm like, and then you guys are fucking like Disney Playhouse action over here too, and so and you guys go to like tons of horror cons and like hang out with like people that live and breathe scary. So like how
like death metal,
I'm a horror movie reviewer. What are we doing? How did
this come to be? How did you guys decide to do this all ages deal and mix it into your ongoing projects and stuff? Where'd the idea come from?
So it was actually really neat because we didn't come up with the idea to do it. It was a challenge to us from a really good friend of ours, Richard Rivera, who is the head of Scoot for Scout Comics. We've known him for many years, done a lot of shows with him, really good friends with him. And he one day was like, I think you guys would do a really good job if you wrote a title that skewed a little younger. And we tried for a little bit. We're like, yeah, we'll try this. This sounds good. If Richard's asking us to do it, we'll put some meat behind it because Richard is a good guy and he's got a good sense of those kind of things. So we tried and we tried and we tried. And we had the concept we had was going very YA, kind of like Super 8, the movie Super 8. And Steph kept saying, I don't think this is what Scout is wanting us to do right now because this is skewing too old. And so I was very stubborn about that and kept on trying to push for this other one because we just felt like we had to roll with it. We're like, let's find a way to make it work. Let's find a way to make it work. And one day we're just like, look, this isn't working. We took about 3 steps back and we have a spreadsheet of like 26, 28 ideas that we've taken from when we first met. Just if we had an idea, hey, let's just jot it down. We might need it for some time later. And we had one idea that was jotted down, and I looked at it and I was like, what if we use this? And we kind of talked about it. I said, okay, give me the name of your favorite animal. Can't be a dog or a cat. And she goes, ferret. And I was like, okay, I'm going to choose sloth. We're going to have little boy, little girl, a ferret and a sloth. That's our crew. Let's make it happen. And we had the pitch for Misfitz Clubhouse done like quickly. I mean, it was quick that we had it done because when it jived, when it actually hit that right cylinder in our heads, we knew we're like, dude, this is exactly what we need to be doing.
I'm sorry, I was muted so I could do this. I never did one of these before. Oh, I never erased it. Of course it did. Damn it. I'm trying to put your link in the banner. But yeah, so I like that. So I also think you should do an all ages Super 8 kind of deal too. Like I feel like that could be pretty sick. Because I love it when young kids get into terrible situations. I mean, it started with it. It's everybody loves Stranger Things. I mean, even that wizard book that I used to love before that crazy lady ruined everything for me in my childhood, like even that, like it was like these kids just in crazy situations, and it's cool. Like it's like it's nostalgic, it's stressful, but and it makes us feel kind of young again. I like those kinds of stories. So I mean I don't know if it would be good for a Scoot imprint, but that if you guys combined like Isildur and Misfitz Clubhouse, I would buy it. I would buy it in a heartbeat.
All of our ideas are going to manifest into stories one way or another at some point, and we really got kind of far in that story as far as what was going to happen and where it was going to go. So you never know. We might be back on here talking about it in a couple of years or sooner.
Well, the thing you just said too, you hit on a good point. And we like to put it like this. Blake, if you're flipping through the channels and Toy Story's on, are you probably going to stop and watch it for a minute?
Oh, yeah.
Probably. If Wreck-It Ralph is on and you're flipping through and you see Wreck-It Ralph, you're probably going to stop for a minute and watch a Wreck-It Ralph. That doesn't mean that you are an adolescent. Doesn't mean you're a juvenile. It means you're an adult that likes fun things.
Yeah.
And that's how we approach Misfitz Clubhouse. We want to write the stories to where you're going to pick up the issue as a full-grown adult, read the issue and be like, dude, that was fun. I enjoyed that. I was able to escape into some fun and some laughter at the same time. Cool. You know what? Now I'm going to go take it to, my 10-year-old nephew, Johnny, throw it at him and see what Johnny thinks. And Johnny's probably going to dig it too, because it's not something that's going to skew so old that Johnny's not going to understand it. And it's not something that's going to skew so young that you're going to really go, oh, this is for babies, and chuck it in the trash.
Yeah. Yeah, no, when the issue you guys sent me, the first one that came out from Scoot, so like I fucking love pinball so much. Like it's like a dream of mine. Like I will know I've made it if I ever am able to like buy a $5,000 1980s Ninja Turtle pinball machine.
Yeah.
Now, and now I haven't looked at those, so they may not be $5,000 anymore. They may be a lot more money, but
I think you can get one for like $8,000. And I know that because I would love to, at some point, if I ever had the space, to get My favorite pinball machine of all time is the 80s pinball machine, Bride of Pinball.
Bride of Pinball,
Nice.
That's his favorite.
So I go back every once in a while, like, and so I guess there's an arcade in Gainesville, which is about 35 miles from me. And somebody went up there, and I'm like, dude, check it out. They have Bride of Pinball up there, and he took a picture of Bride of Pinball. So I'm like, dude, I got to get up there because I haven't played Bride of Pinball in like 20 years. I'm like, come on, man, that's that's like the greatest pinball machine of all time. Bride of Pinball, haunted house, you know, different layers, different levels. Bride of Pinball has a spot at the top that if you get to a different level, the whole top of the machine turns. It gives you a different level to play.
It's
What?
pretty crazy, yeah.
That's nuts.
I love it. So
Unreal.
in the comments, John Westhoff says, "Oh Lord, these two again." I know our freaking mugs are everywhere right now, and
You're doing it right though.
way.
That's what you do when you got a campaign going, you know.
Well, and John freaking Westhoff, hello pot, called beat kettle. You know, you're everywhere too, man. Because if you're doing the same thing, John Westhoff, you guys need to make sure.
I'm sick of seeing us too.
Everywhere but Blake's Buzz. He did not come to Blake's Buzz this campaign. There's some kind of vendetta we got going where I love him too much and he makes him uncomfortable, I guess.
Well, you know.
Geek Collective's in the house. What's up, Buzz? Actually, since bringing up Geek Collective, I might as well put this out there real quick, since a lot of people that do Kickstarters watch this show. I'm in the Geek Collective network, and we are now, or Geek Collective is partnered with Gemini, and you can use that code Geek Collective 10 to get 10% off your Gemini mailer orders, which you should be shipping with Gemini mailers. That's just what I believe. I've never had bent, dinged, damaged comics that showed up bagged and boarded in a Gemini mailer. So, but yeah, you can use that code to get a little break. I know shipping supplies get expensive. So anyways, that's just throwing that out there.
All the time I don't use Gemini is if it's something that's too big to fit in there. Like we got leatherwork and vinyl records, things like that. But if it's standard comics like this, which is Heirs of Isildur, The Perilous Prospects, Book 2, the Stranger Things homage cover, or this, Heirs of Isildur, The Perilous Prospects 2, the Keto manga cover, those will be shipping out in Gemini's, good sir.
Nice. I love that cover. I love that character. And I really loved the advertisement for the Keto one-shot that was at the end of Tales of Isildur #2 that you guys let me read. I was like, oh yeah, baby. Like it was, what did you, Mortal Kombat meets something.
Mortal Kombat meets Soul Calibur and Mad Max.
Yes. I was like, that's a winning, that's the Holy Trinity, ladies and gentlemen. No offense to any Christians out there listening, but like, great. I get the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit are do wonderful things for people, but what Matt just said is way cooler.
Let me say, that is the thing that we are actually working on full bore right now. Obviously, we are almost. When I say we're almost done with this Misfits issue, we're done with the Misfits issue, other than the fact that the last story, Barrel Peril, that's the story that people have the opportunity to get drawn into.
Okay.
So we've got every panel's been drawn, and we know where the character, like if you get drawn, and which we do have, like half of those drawn in characters have been taken. We do know where those drawn in characters are going to be, but we obviously can't finish those pages until we have the campaign finished. Yeah. We know who will be there. But the thing that we're working on full speed ahead in the background is the I Am Keto story, which is going to be freaking nuts. If people are familiar with the Heirs of Isildur history, so Heirs of Isildur, one of the characters in there, King Lovelorn, is from the Kingdom of Nocturnia. So we have a spin-off series called Tales from Nocturnia that we did, that in Nocturnia, we got to see what was going on in the Kingdom of Nocturnia once the king left. Once the king was pulled into the Heirs of Isildur storyline, we got to explore everything there. And the fun thing was, even though we made sure in that story that everything was consistent with the universe of what's possible in the Heirs of Isildur world, that didn't mean that everything that was in that Tales from Nocturnia world was also in Heirs. Tales from Nocturnia was World of Warcraft, Dungeons and Dragons, Game of Thrones. There was big mythical creatures and monsters and all that kind of stuff that existed there. So when Lovelorn was pulled in, he was pulled from an environment that had that kind of stuff going on into Heirs. In I Am Keto, we can't get too deep into it right now because we aren't really ready to start playing with it yet. But we do have a promoting all the details. It's a one-shot about the character Keto before he goes into the Heirs of the Sealer world, and we get to explore this Far East fictional kingdom that he's a part of. And what we can say is, it definitely would be a good sister companion story to where Tales from Nocturne is when it comes to the fantastic, wild, insane nature of it. And there are some things in that story that we've never, for us to fantasy there. There's a lot of really deep.
Yep.
Can't wait to be able to start really about that.
Do you guys ever get confused with like all these stories in this universe that you've made and like the previous entities, and then some of the back matter and stuff you guys have? Like, do you have to like study your own literature sometimes before you start writing? Because you guys have built a big world, and I mean, I know you've worked on it for like a while, but it's like you keep adding to it and expanding. And I love the mythos. I love what you guys are doing, and I want to see more of it. But like, I just, maybe when you live and breathe it, it's always in your head and you always know. But I just like, if it was me, I would be like, what did this guy do? Where did he come from again?
I think one of the nice things that we've created is Matt was just talking about Nocturnia, and that was such a different kingdom and such a different world and story than what was going on in Heirs. And we're doing the same thing with Keto. And it's kind of nice. It's like a breath of fresh air to kind of delve into a completely different world. With Nocturnia, It was medieval. With Keto, it's going to be more Far East. And both have, like we're trying to be as authentic as we can. And there's characters that are in those worlds and those stories that we don't see in any other story that we're doing. But yeah, there are times when I've had to say, okay, Lovelorn did this in Heirs, but he didn't do it in, Nocturne, but that doesn't happen. But we're both very, I mean, I don't think Matt would correct me here. We're both very type A and very meticulous when it comes to how we're creating. And so everything's on, Google Docs and Google Sheets, and nice. Everything is categorized a certain way, and that helps a lot.
Yeah. When I talked to, the first time I talked to Charlie Stickney, he told me about this like massive 50+ page Google document he has for White Ash, and like all these ideas for spinoffs and characters that some haven't even like come together, and he's got like 50 issues planned, and I was just like, I was salivating. I was like, send me the documents. Let me read it. But it sounds like that helps. Like, see, I usually do when I was writing like short stories, so there wasn't as much to forget or get lost in, because I was like constantly writing like new characters and new scenarios and stuff. So that idea of like this epic world building, and you have such a rich, varied cast and these new characters that show up, and then to like now you're talking about one shots that fill us in on, and like it's exciting to me, and I really respect your storytelling capability, because it's not easy to do. It's really not, and so I think it's awesome that you both are so good at doing that. And I mean, I know we're supposed to be talking about the Clubhouse, but like the Tales of Isidore issue 2 was, I didn't know it could get more fast paced. Like the pacing and the tension in that second issue, like ramped it up like hardcore. And like people are getting arrested. The fucking militia's too powerful. Oh my God. Like on top of everything else, you fucking like bring in these asshole cops.
Yes. Yes. Like, oh my gosh.
Putting their boots down and like just being dicks. I'm like, this world doesn't need that. I'm sweating reading this. I'm like, holy shit.
One of our favorite things about that is our buddy was one of the ones that was we always have draw me in tears in our Kickstarters, so that if you want to be drawn in as a character, and it varies per story and campaign, but with that one of our buddies, he chose one of the draw me in tiers, and we made him one of those asshole cops. And it's perfect because we knew that he would love it. We knew that he would be like, yes, I'm a jerk, and this is great, and I love it, and he loves it. But yeah, we love hearing that kind of feedback because that's exactly what we're going for. And that's what's kind of nice about doing Misfits is fun and silly. And I don't want to say it's wholesome, but it is because it's family friendly. So it's a different kind of fun than it is when we're writing Airs or Keto or Nocturnia or the anthologies that we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of a nice departure because there's a big part of our personalities that is silly and fun. And but we're also, we also want to tell stories that are serious and have, a lot of character development. So it's nice being able to get to do both of those right now a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean that's one of the benefits about being like doing the self-published thing, right? Is you kind of get to pick and choose your own projects, and you get to do. I mean, you get to do what you want. You also got to think of the market and stuff like that too. But I mean, no one's telling y'all like what you can and can't do. Like that's you and Matt are telling that to each other and keeping each other like in the reins. And I think that's just really great. Now I do want to challenge your wholesome comment though, because do you guys hate asparagus? Because in that first issue, you did some terrible things.
That's what's funny about it is I actually love asparagus, and I cook a mean asparagus. I do like a roasted asparagus with some olive oil and some salt and pepper. And we have Parmesan, friends that come over and are like, "Are you going to make your asparagus?" Like, I love it. It's awesome. It's amazing. No, we wanted to, when we did that story, which was all about one of our main characters, Miki, not wanting to eat a vegetable for dinner, and we said, okay. Any kid's story that you get is going to be like broccoli or carrots, there tends to be we wanted to go with kind of a more off the wall vegetable that you don't hear about much anymore. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of the same way as when we were choosing what their animal friends were going to be. I think we just kind of were like, what's a vegetable that we can use that isn't your typical, because I feel like anytime that you see any kind of TV show or kids book, and it's talking about a vegetable that kids don't like, it's usually broccoli or peas or something. Yeah. So we just were like, nah, what about asparagus? But if you come to my house and I cook asparagus for you, you're not going to be like me. You're going to really like it.
Yeah, no, I like it too. It just there's one scene in particular where she's I'm so bad at names. Miki is going through all these scenarios about if she was this, if she was that. No one would make her eat asparagus, right? And she's like, if I was a firefighter, no one would make me eat asparagus. And there is an asparagus family, an anthropomorphic asparagus family, burning down in a building, yes. And the fireman's just rescuing this cat, okay, we're done here.
Yes.
I was like, this is dark.
I know.
I was cracking up. It's so funny, guys, and I'm so excited for this new issue. And I love that you have a sloth. I love that the sloth's name is Slothy. Fucking genius. I almost want to get
a name him. His parents forgot to name him. So that's just what he is.
I guess I want to bring up the campaign page, yes, just to kind of show this art is, I love it so much. It's so beautiful.
Raheel is so great. That's Raheel Mohsen. He's our artist. He's in India, and he has done a lot of all ages titles, and he's done a lot of where it looks like animation. And I've known Raheel for a while, and when Matt and I were discussing artists, I think that he did a couple of promo picks for us, and we were like, yeah, he's got the vibe on it. But Bruce is our kind of our breakout character, and Raheel has such a vibe on him, and it's so great.
Yeah, Bruce McTutherson. I love it, and it's like a detective story, right?
Yeah. And the great thing about Bruce is Bruce existed in the real world prior to this story. You want to tell them about that stuff, how Bruce? So
Bruce is I'm a huge shark fan. Jaws is my favorite movie. I'm obsessed. And years ago, probably 4 or 5 years ago, my kids and I were at the mall, and we walked past Build-A-Bear. And it was the middle of summer, and it was right before Shark Week, and you could make like a little shark. You can make a shark Build-A-Bear.
Oh,
and
nice.
I'm like, we have to do that. So we made the shark. He's not next to me right now, otherwise I would show you, but he's made an appearance on some of the live streams that we've done. And I have a penchant for naming things ridiculous. I name everything. And it's always, something Mick something or Mr. something. It's always the more ridiculous and outlandish I can make it, the better. And so we named him Bruce McTootherson because Bruce was the name of the shark in Jaws, not like in the movie, but when they were making the movie, they referred to him as Bruce.
Oh, really?
Trivia note, Bruce was the name of Steven Spielberg's lawyer. Okay. And so that's why they called him Bruce. But I don't even know how it came about, but we were like, it would be so much fun to make him a character. And it just turned into this. And we have a feeling that it is going to be a recurring character and a recurring story. So he is that's actually the television show that our kids watch. And so we made an entire story about an episode that they're watching about Bruce, who is he's the aquatic investigator. He's a detective who is he's bumbling. He's a bumbling idiot. He's clumsy. He knocks stuff over all the time, but he's also very smart and perceptive and can crack a lot of cases. So
nice. Yes, David. The original Misfitz Clubhouse was published from Scout through their Scoot line, and now it's coming back to Kickstarter, which is that you can see the link scrolling around, and that's what we're looking at here with Mr. Bruce. I'm very excited to see this, and I love there's the titles and stuff, like just the title of this, just Sharks, Dragons, and Little Red Wagons, like these the playful tone and the rhyming and the alliteration you guys use sometimes in this writing. It's just, it works really, really well. Like it never seems cheesy. It's fun. I'm a 37-year-old jaded man reading, and you guys made me laugh very hard.
That's what I'm talking about. That is the pull quote right there. I'm a 37-year-old jaded man. You made me laugh. I love that.
We're gonna put that as a quote, as a pull quote.
Right. So the thing is, this title is still on Scout, even though we're doing the Kickstarter for it. So
okay.
Yeah. So the way that it works is Scout allows its creators to go do Kickstarters for the titles. They know that covering art costs and different things like that are not cheap, and so we're able to take this to Kickstarter, and then Scout has the option to take this and put this out through distribution or do whatever they want to do whenever they want to do something with it. And there's just agreements, things like if you'll see on this Kickstarter, there's no retail tiers, anything that's going to a retail store, something that Scout's going to do. There will be, when it comes out through Scout, there'll be unique covers. There'll be something that makes it unique. Like when we did the first issue, we had 4 covers that we did on our side. When Scout released it, 2 of those 4 covers in one way or another made it onto Scout. Scout had 6 different covers on there. So there's literally like 10 different cover variations for issue 1. So this one is definitely still going to be through distribution. It just will be here first. If you want to get it now, you need to get it from us on the Kickstarter. After that, you're going to have to wait through distribution through Scout whenever that happens.
Thank you for adding that, because I was going to ask you guys, because it came out from Scoot initially, I was going to ask like what happened, and then I was like, that might be a weird question. Scout passed on it this time around, Blake, and thanks for asking, because that really hurt our feelings and sent us down a spiral of depression.
No, I can tell you that all Scout is actually very excited about this issue. They're very excited about where we're going with this, and they're very excited about future possibilities with Misfits.
Nice.
So
I hear the all ages realm is very lucrative typically.
So I don't know. I don't know if it is or not. I will say this. I will say this. I know there is a market for all ages.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get yourself out of the comic.
Oh, okay.
Or what I mean, here's what I mean.
You just can't make money in comics anymore.
What I mean by that
against you guys.
No, you can't.
What I mean by that is, for instance, you can see this Kickstarter. from a dollar amount range. We knew going in it was going to be tempered expectations, because all ages comics or your titles like this are not as lucrative on Kickstarter. Once you get to where it's actually titles in a book and you have a spine on it, then the market opens up greatly for. So when we can take Misfitz Clubhouse and we can start to compartmentalize them down into a book with a spine, then it probably is going to have a little bit different reach possibility.
Okay. And by the way, here's these have been sitting on the screen because I love them so much. These fucking socks, guys. Like, what made you guys go sock? Because like, I don't. If anyone's not familiar with Steph or Matt, like, they do all these like cool leatherwork, steampunky stuff, and like crazy masks and goggles and like just beautiful pieces, right? And they do a lot of these. But like, where did the socks? Like, where did socks come from?
Well, when we were doing Misfits, we're like, crap, we can't really do leatherwork because that's kind of weird. Like, that doesn't go with all ages title or a kids title or however you want to call it. So we had to kind of rack our brains to figure out what we were going to do. And I'm not even sure how we came up with socks, but we found this vendor and they're amazing because I'm actually wearing Misfit socks right now. I'm not wearing the Bruce socks. We don't have those just yet. And they're legit comfortable socks. Nice. And the fun thing is that people who have gotten the socks, whether it's through our Kickstarter or buying it from our booth or whatever, they'll post pictures online, like on Facebook, of them wearing the socks and talk about it. And then we'll have other friends and other people that will comment on that person's post and say, yeah, I love the socks too. They are my favorite socks to wear. Even though I'm in California, we've been having some crazy weather the last couple of weeks and it's been really cold and rainy. And these socks are nice and thick and warm and they've saved me. They're like the only socks I want to wear. I
like how you guys have made it okay to post feet pics on Maine.
I know, right?
Right? Not even on against the rule.
We could be making a lot of money, probably. You gave me an idea, actually.
Yeah, those. See right there. There's the actual prototype.
There we go.
Actually a real prototype of the Bruce socks.
Yeah, they look really thick and comfy. Yeah.
And right there, that's the socks I think that Steph is wearing right now. Is nice. The original Misfit socks.
Yes, the green ones.
Yeah, and then I love these characters have already stole my fucking heart. Like, I'm not like, and like Stig, Stig's such like a metal, like he's gonna grow up and be like in a metal band, right? Like I love his innocence at this time because like once he graduates high school, it's going to be through for him. He's going to be like, oh, for sure. I'm Stig and I play the fucking axe like a monster.
Note to self: do not let Blake write any pickup stories for Misfitz
Stig is totally. I mean, honestly, if you look deep and you know Matt and I well enough, you can see pieces of me and Miki, and probably some pieces of Matt and Stig. I would think, and that's even on like a subconscious level.
More like in Fairy.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
I love.
But neither of us are slothy. I run, so I'm not slow.
I loved watching Slothy play pin. I keep going back to that. I had so much fun reading that. So this is what that pinball story reminded me of. Like I mentioned earlier, how usually when I read all ages stuff, I end up fucking crying. It almost always it's like super emotional or there's a dog and you think the dog's going to die the whole time or something. And then like they bond with this animal and I get all like blubbery and shit. So like I was really waiting. I was like, this looks funny and goofy, so maybe I won't be crying. No. But yeah, like usually like that's my like experience with all ages stuff is just like weeping. And I'm like, apparently children can handle emotions way better than I can.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's Pixar makes millions of dollars off of that.
Yeah, right. It's right like there. It's very it's emotionally intense.
If you're gonna go see a Pixar movie, that it's gonna rip your heart out and make you cry, and you're gonna have to be like walking out of the theater, doing that thing. But so far, that's not our story. It doesn't mean that we might not touch on that, but we just want to have fun. We just want to have it be fun but not cheesy. Like when I say wholesome, I don't mean like Full House.
Yeah.
That's like my barometer. I always say Full House. Sorry for any Full House fans.
Cut it out, all right?
But,
Full House is a goddamn gem, Steph.
I'm like, if it's gonna come out of the mouth of Michelle Tanner, that's not our story at all. That's too saccharine sweet. We want something a little bit, a little bit lower than that.
I gotcha. But yeah, this story. So we had, when I was a kid, there was this place called Cool Crest, this mini golf place, and I love mini golf. But like, I was always really excited. They had a big arcade, and I was always like really excited to like play in the arcade after we did, like before or after the round of mini golf. And they had this Jurassic. I love dinosaurs. I'm obsessed with dinosaurs, and I actually broke all my family's thoughts and dreams because when I was like a baby, I could say all these like multisyllabic dinosaur names and impress everybody. Everybody thought I was going to be a fucking scientist, and I was sure not. but I love this. Same. I love this Jurassic Park pinball game, and it was one of the highest scores I've ever gotten on pin. Like I got like the extra play, and my points were crazy, and like my cousins were like watching me because I was like in the fucking zone, and it like I totally was like, you guys brought me back to this like really wonderful family moment with this story, and I just like I really attached to it, and it just was like it's a really good feeling, and like again, like going back to like how I think of you both as writers and what makes you all talented storytellers and good at what you do is just that like you can go into like steampunk apocalypse, and you can go into a treehouse or a rainy day in a cluttered garage, and you can take your audience to a magical place away from all the bullshit we're dealing with, all the drama we're dealing with, and put us in a cool place for a while till we finish that issue. And it's a rare experience. A lot of people try to do it, right? And you can have a good, decent comic and maybe not necessarily like attach yourself with your audience that way, but you guys are really, really, you're good at that. You're good at knowing who you're writing for and who your audience is. And I just really appreciate that about how you guys tell stories. And this, like I said, this, I knew I was going to read it, right? Because we talked about this in the green room. I'm one of those crazy motherfuckers that actually preps for shows and reads comics beforehand.
But, right?
But it was, I was like, this isn't necessarily my wheelhouse. I was digging the art, right? But yeah, like right off the bat, I was like, okay, this is fun. Like I'm digging this. And yeah, just like, Slothy, like being nervous about playing pinball and like worrying about losing his friends, and like they're all like the pinball turns into like this spaceship kind of thing, and there's like a quest, and it was awesome. It was really awesome, and
thank you.
It made me really excited for these new stories you guys are going to tell.
I'll tell you, one of the funnest things about the Pinball Madness story, would love to tell this, is that we feel like there's a lot of our artist Raheel in Slothy in that story.
Nice.
Because Raheel, when we pitched the story to him, told him, hey, this is what it's going to be about. He had told us he'd never played a pinball machine before. He lives in India, and he said he'd never played a pinball machine. So we had to break it all the way back down to what a bumper is and what a flipper is and what the goal of pinball is. And listening to this grown adult learn about pinball and the fun, and he's like, can I draw a trampoline farm? Can I draw a trampoline, forest over here? Like, dude, let's go for it, man. He's like, oh, can I do this? Can I draw this over here? What if I do this over here? Sure, let's go, and so we got to see some of that, childlike energy out of him manifest itself into Slothy kind of learning. And I don't know if that was intentional or not, but we can kind of see that parallel.
Yeah.
No wonder it's so good. Also, I love how you guys draw yourselves or how your art for yourselves and the creative team.
That is
so
us
good.
Completely.
Like I love it. It's so cool. And I love Emily Risette. I got to talk to her and her dad about because they work with Travis Gibb on some Cthulhu stuff. They've been on the show, and so like Emily's art is so good, and she's like. She might be 17 now, but she's like super young, got the world in front of her, and is so humble and chill. And I remember like I was hammered on the Cthulhu interview. I was so drunk because like some people joined in early, and so we were all sitting around talking, and I had a drink, and then like Abby got everybody ended up grabbing drinks, and so like a half hour before the show started, we all start drinking, and then like 30 minutes into the show, I was like, okay. I was like, Blake's having a little too much fun. And like, and so like, you know, all of us are like laughing and stuff. And finally Emily was like, I got school in the morning, I got to go, but like, thank you everybody. And I was like, school. I was like, oh, you're in college? And she was like, no, I'm 16. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. What? Like I was like, you're at that level at 16
it's
already.
crazy.
So yeah, I think it's cool you guys gave her a shot, and her art very much like replicates your vibe in the clubhouse. I feel.
Well, and the great thing too about her cover is that cover is entirely her idea. Like when we knew we wanted to work with Emily for a while, we had Seda Wolf, who was also a teen phenom who did a cover for issue 1, did our Time Warp cover, and we knew we wanted to work with Emily for a while because I'm in Florida. I'm in the same generalized Central Florida community with Travis and Peter and Emily and a lot of the other people you've probably done from Florida. We've all done a lot of the same shows together. And, you know, we finally got this to work. And when we were kind of talking through her on this, she's like, yeah, I want to do this kind of thing. And we're like, oh, okay, sure. And then it was, it's going to be like this Candyland and 007 kind of mashup. And we're like,
done.
Like, go for it, dude.
Okay,
like, well, what's funny is I think it started off. I can't remember which one it started off as, but it started off as
007.
one of those. I think it might have been
007 first.
Yeah, 007, and then she's like, you know what? I kind of want to do like a Candyland theme too. And we're like, go for it. Let's see what you can do. And she knocked it out of the park. So. And
then you guys have Peter Raimondo, who worked with Disney and stuff. It does a cover and it draws a great Bruce, and I love. All these covers are great. Like
that's a former Disney animator, and he was a Disney animator during like the Disney movie Renaissance. So what a lot of listeners and viewers' childhoods were. He has done work on Lilo and Stitch, and Emperor's New Groove, and Mulan, and Princess and the Frog, and he actually is illustrating and writing his own children's books now.
Cool.
And we met Peter at Collective Con Jacksonville in Florida and became friends with him and his family. And so we knew, because some of his children's books that he's doing right now are aquatic themed. So it just made sense for him to do a Bruce cover.
Nice.
But we were wanting him to do a cover for us. We're like, we got to have Peter do a cover for us. Because how many people can say they've had a former Disney animator and like a big Disney animator, doing? He's just the nicest guy and so talented. So it was an honor that he was able to do a cover for us.
That's so cool. Shout out to Cole. Thanks for tuning in. Fans of our other show, Blake and Cole Read a Book. We took tonight off, so I could talk to these two wonderful people longer. And Cole is in the lab mastering how to better do YouTube shorts. He's got 1,000 followers on YouTube, so he's trying to take over the world by storm. And nice. I am very happily riding his coattails on Blake and Cole Read a Book, because I always get like a couple new followers like every episode we do on his channel. So I'm like, yes. So I'm stealing his thunder, and I am okay with it. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, bud. I love this. I love your guys' comics, period. I don't care what you're writing about. I haven't stumbled across anything that you guys have made yet that I just did not just fully enjoy and have a blast, have an absolute blast reading, and it's, I love, and you guys you're so good to like your fans and the indie community, and you go to so many cons, and I know that's fun too, but you're all, you guys have families and stuff too, so like it takes time away from stuff, and you got to balance it. And I think it's really cool what you all do to like be active in the community, and both like as creators and like there in person, to just try and like push out how great it is to be a nerd, right? And I love that about you both.
We appreciate that, because, and I don't know if a lot of people know, but Matt's in Florida, I'm in California.
Mm-hmm.
Florida has a lot of conventions. There's a lot of Florida creators, and there's a lot of conventions. And so for the past few years, I've been flying out to Florida for conventions or East Coast conventions every 6 4 to 6 weeks, sometimes sooner. I mean, there's been times I've like come home for 2 days and gone back, and it's crazy. I'm a mom. I've got kids that need to go to school and all that stuff. So it's been insane. It's been an insane few years. And but we do it because we love it, and that's where the conventions are. So that's what we're doing.
I'm so excited. I'm about to go to my first convention, Kansas City Planet Comic Con.
That's gonna be your first
my
convention?
first con.
Oh my gosh!
And I'm gonna be press, and like people are already
yay.
like excited to like talk to me and do interviews and stuff. Like, dude, I'm so like both terrified and ecstatic.
You have to go if it's your first show. You have to go dressed as Andy Reid. You have to go your interviews.
You should pretend to be Andy Reid.
I'm telling you,
I'll have a clipboard.
You'll be fine with it,
man.
Can
I get a picture with you, Andy Reid? Holy crap, Andy Reid, you de-aged. You're the Benjamin Button of Andy Reids.
You didn't know Andy Reid likes comic books and cheeseburgers, baby. We're here to win. Callie and Jordan, thanks for coming in. We will be back next week. We took this week off, so yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back with a book for everybody next week, and give something away and have it be a special episode.
But here's the thing though too. What happened to everybody reading the book this night? We want to make sure you're reading the book, which is Misfitz Clubhouse.
That is true.
The Little Red Wagons.
Yes.
Because we've got now, so it's like 5 minutes away from 47 hours left in the campaign. We are, even though we're over our minimum funding ask, that's why we say it's the minimum funding level. Mm-hmm. We are $82 away and 4 backers away from 2 different stretch goals. And then ultimately, even though, hey, can we make it? Who the heck knows? Crazy things have happened in some other campaigns. We would like to be able to see this best our previous Misfitz Clubhouse campaign. Our previous Misfitz Clubhouse campaign was $35.19, so we're like $1,011 away from there or something like that.
Yeah.
So if we could get to that point, and it was 101 backers, that would just show that we were able to increase the Kickstarter fan base. Now, right now, we know that times are tough right now. We know that people aren't getting the tax returns that they expected. People don't have pandemic money. There's an unbelievable number of campaigns that are out there on Kickstarter.
People quit their job without a backup plan.
But you know what, though?
Not that we're mentioning names or anything.
But I feel you, man. But it's like, this is the kind of thing that helps us to be able to continue going to shows and making other content, making things like, the I Am Keto story that we were talking about earlier. Those things aren't cheap, and any little thing that helps us to be able to help you. And we're not just talking about intake to us. We always try to find ways to give back, whether it's post-campaign drawings or making sure we have good stretch goals to be able to add. We are just about to ship. We were supposed to have shipped Heirs of Isildur to the Perilous Prospects book 2. We should have shipped that out already. But the reason we haven't is because we had a delay on the trading cards for that campaign. And every single issue in that is getting 7 to 20 trading cards, every single package. And those 7 trading cards are all trading cards that were added in as stretch goals. So those first 7, nobody bought those things. It was, you get this issue, you're getting 7 different trading cards with it that we produced. And because we want to make sure people feel like they're getting not just a good story, but good value for their dollar.
Nice.
So that's what we do. And that the more stretch goals we have, we set the initial ask low so we can have more stretch goals. And the more stretch goals we get to, the more we get to give back to. We really believe in that. And we want to make sure you feel like when you get your packages, we can't stand opening up a package and you open it up and the bag isn't even, the issue isn't even boarded or bagged. And you open up the issue and there's nothing but, say, your 24 pages of story.
Yeah.
There's nothing else, nothing about the creator. There's nothing else to give you some further information. You did no note saying thank you. It's just as if you were like, they didn't really want to give you that extra little bit. We always try to give you that extra little bit. So if you're out there and you really want a book to read, this is the one you want to do right now.
Yes. And I will mention again, like, it's an all ages book, right? So, I mean, if you love your children, which I really hope you do, ladies and gentlemen, all right, because we're doing this for the kids. We're doing this for the future. All right. So if you love your children, go to Kickstarter right now. There's the link scrolling around on the bottom. All right. Get your kids some socks. Okay. Because it's cold some places, right? Keep their feet warm, right? Teach them. And and teach them how to be fucking awesome like these misfits. Like, give them a good example, and you know what? Show them that indie comics are fucking boss. Show them that like there are so many amazing comic books out there outside of the big two, outside of Spider-Man and X-Men, even though like I love them, right? But like we need younger audiences to realize that like there are other things to get into in the comic book world, right? It's a rocky landscape right now for indie comics, and so like if we can you know, look how smart the cigarette companies were, right? Get them to smoke young, okay? Get them in those comic shops early, right? And show them that
same
it's
thing,
cool.
same
Yeah,
totally
same thing, except you live longer and they're cheaper.
Yeah, exactly.
You can buy way more comics with that cigarette money, kids. All right,
exactly.
Just listen to Uncle Blake and buy comics and not cigarettes.
Hey, so listen, we haven't done this for any show this year, and we're only going to do this. This is going to be reverse of what we normally do. We're at 71 backers right now. We're $82 away from where we want to be as far as our first stretch goal. If we get to both of those numbers before the end of the night, we will make sure that Blake, because Blake is such a damn cool dude, that we make sure Blake gets something cool. So if you guys love Blake, if you guys want to see something cool come from Blake,
extra,
then we make sure we give something good back to Blake. So let's do it. Even if you want to just get to the backers, you just want to donate, you just want to pledge $1. That's going to get us to that backer number, and we'll make sure we give something cool to Blake, and we'll let you know what that is. But if you don't, Blake is cut off. We're throwing him over the cliff.
I'm glad you brought up the dollar thing, because Travis Gibb actually taught me about that. I always saw like those tiers are like $5 because you believe in it or whatever. But then like I learned that like, so if something looks cool to you, but if you are in a tight spot or if you don't have kids or whatever, and you're, you live in a bar like I used to, and everybody in the family's grown up or something, but you like the idea of like kids reading comics, you can pump $1 into that campaign, and it's just $1. It ups the backer count. It helps the algorithm. It helps Kickstarter like push this product. Like that $1. Do you guys remember the old commercials about when we used to have like landlines and payphones and stuff, and they were like, what can you get for $1? And you're like, I can call my best friend from New York or whatever. Like, it's what can you get for $1? You can help Kickstarter. So like for real, it's a huge deal. Like, some people back digitally because it's cheaper than physical and stuff. But like if you just see a project that you're interested in, or if it feels like a good vibe, or if you're, like I said, that $1 can do a lot and help a lot. So that's definitely something to think about, especially for this campaign now that, like, I get something out of it. Like, yeah, I like that. But it just in the future, like that was something I learned too. Like if you're broke or in a tight spot, $5, you can help 5 campaigns. And like I said, like that, all of us are fucking fighting the algorithm right now, right? It's the number one enemy of comic books right now. And it's, no one can beat it. Like fucking Elon can't even beat it, and he made it worse.
Yeah.
Well, I'd say there's another thing about the dollar as well, is that if you back a campaign, 2 things. If you back a campaign for any amount of money, 1, that now puts you in the campaign, so you're getting the updates that may only go to backers. You're able to see those things that only backers can see. But the other thing is, there might be people that actually follow you on Kickstarter. They want to see what Blake does, and if you go up and back it for any amount of money, there are times people are literally going to see, like, there are people right now, if Steph backs a campaign, if I back a campaign, if Sim backs a campaign, they'll get a message that pops up and it'll say, Matt Knowles just backed, John Westhoff's Drumsticks of Doom.
Yeah.
They may have never heard about that, but because they follow me and they want to see the things I'm backing or that Sim is backing, that might be the thing. Your $1 might broadcast a message out to all these other people that follow you to go check out a specific campaign, because they'll go, well, if Blake backs it, that thing must be good.
Yeah, because I am an influencer.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You surely are.
Someone called me that the other day, and I felt weird.
I know. Well, it's funny because we were on a show over the weekend, and I was talked about how I feel weird, even though it's the proper term to say fans. Like it just feels, I feel a little icky saying fans. I try to say readers or something like that, even though there are fans of our series, and that's okay to say, but it's just internally, it's the same thing as, I'm sure that you feel. It's just, even though it's true, it just feels weird to say, I feel like other people should say that about us, but we can't say that about our readers.
Yeah. Like I get caught up too. Like I usually say my followers or my audience, because like saying Blake's Buzz fans, and I'm just like, oh, it's like,
it just makes you feel just a little.
Yeah. The cheese dick alarm goes off in my head.
Yes,
like,
exactly. Yep.
Yeah, I like to use supporters because
that's good too,
they're supporting what we do, and I see.
I like saying readers because that's what they are.
I see a comment over here that I think you got people that's a supporter. David Gage says, I don't want to see Blake thrown off a cliff. Guess I'm heading over to Kickstarter.
What? Yeah. Where are you? I don't have that comment.
It's on the YouTube side.
Weird.
But I see it.
This happened the other day. Like I was like, the chat was like really quiet, and then out of nowhere, like 20 comments were just like, and I was like, oh.
David Gage said that. So I'm like, hey man, I appreciate that. That means you got people that really love you and want to see you not go off a cliff. They want to see you make it to your first comic convention ever.
We're just using that to our advantage, So,
I mean, I recently I mean, there's been several times where the community's come out and really helped me out of a jam. I mean, the reason why, like, the reason why I'm looking good and sounding good on this live stream right now is because I have a new laptop that like the people came out and helped me buy.
That was awesome, man. That was awesome.
Which is awesome.
And I'm starting to think it's because people like me to cry on air, because I did, man. And because I had a live show that day when it like the first day it blew up, right? And I was just like, oh my God. And I had a live show, and I was like, I can't go live and not talk about it. I gotta say thank you. And I gotta, say something. And yeah, I was like, it was like Travis and the Band of Bards crew were on. And I was like, yeah, I gotta. I was wearing. It helped because I was like wearing my aviators, my B glasses, right? But I was crying. My voice was breaking. I was like, you guys.
I thought that was really cool, but it just goes to show how
No, I'm a very lucky nerd, and I know I work hard, and I know but the success I've had, I've been doing it for this month. I can't remember what the exact day is, but like sometime this month is when Blake's Buzz went live 2 years ago, when I launched the blog. And so like, just for what's happened in 2 years and like the networking I've done, and the people that follow me, and now there's the Patreon and all this stuff too. Like it's gnarly. Like it's crazy, and it makes me feel really good. And because I love comics with all my heart, and I love indie comics with all my heart. And it's so cool. It's so cool watching you guys stress over crowdfunding campaigns, because I'm a sick bastard, and I I love watching John Westhoff like not sleep. Because he's gonna fund. Like I know he's gonna fund, but it's
oh yeah, for sure he's gonna.
He's just like some of those campaigns, they just take till the last couple days, and as a as press and a consumer and a watcher, right? It's entertaining, it's exciting, but I also know like on the other side, like where you guys are at, it's like it does get stressful, and it gets intense, but it's a crazy race. It's the Kickstarter drama, right? And I like that's what Kickstarter drama is. People aren't going after each other. People aren't getting into arguments. It's like a warm, comfy family gathering at Cool Crest, playing mini golf, playing pinball, right? And that's how Kickstarter is, and I love it. And I love that like everybody's here to help each other, and it's empowering and exciting and an honor that I get to be part of that community doing what I do. And a lot of it is because of the creators like you all that like putting up with my bullshit and doing shows and stuff like these. And so like I just I won't ever be able to say thank you enough, and I really hope later in life I'm at a position where I hope I can like help someone like, you know, if I see later on, if I see a streamer needing a new microphone or new, like, I really hope I can help give back in the future.
Well, right now you're giving back by being a damn good host, dude, and that helps because
as a supporter, and you're reading the comics before you get on interview people, and that's
So speaking of that, so you were a huge supporter of Heirs of the Silver, the Perilous Prospect Book 1. So without giving away spoilers, when you read issue 2, were there things that you were like, oh, I'm really glad that I was able to see this specific storyline move forward?
Yeah, he was talking about that earlier when you were like, I was breaking up a little bit. But he was talking about the militia and the police and everything. So we were talking about Jay being drawn in.
Yeah.
And we had a whole convo about it while you were getting reset up.
But no, I loved like part of live streams. We repeat stuff all the time, remind people to back comics. So like, but yeah, I loved issue 2. Like I told Steph, I didn't expect, like, I knew it was going to be crazy, right? But like, there was like great pacing and great tension in the first issue. I didn't know that it was going to like go up even more. And like, yeah, with the town turning against each other because of these, like, I love that you guys I love that the cops are assholes. Like, right. It's just like in this fantastical realm, we still have asshole cops and we can't get rid of them. There's still a problem. And I love that. And I really dug like the Shiver and what happens to Shiver. And then I don't want to spoil anything, but like, I want to see how that plays out. And honestly, like this is a big comic, right? It's like what, 40 something pages?
56.
56. Okay. All right. So yeah, 56 pages goes by really quickly. And you guys like the dialogue, right? So it's not like these pages don't have things to read. It's just like there's a lot going on and you're like you're cruising through it. And I have that problem sometimes where I have to remind myself like, ooh, like the art is really cool. Like let's chill and remember to like appreciate the great art. And I also really like the lettering you guys do. I like how you change the colors. I love the font that you guys use. It's it's ocularly pleasant.
Thank you.
But yeah, it's so I love the dirty cops. I love the drama. I love the awakening in the end. And I want to, oh God, I want to know what's behind that door. Oh my God. I was like, when I got there and the PDF stopped, I was like, motherfucker. I was so mad. I was like, no.
Yeah.
Well, I will tell you, even though it's going to be a little ways out because we have to go through the I Am Keto story first, we felt like doing keto and having that insert before issue 3 was going to be the proper timing for it. We will let you know that when we get to issue 3, you're going to find out what Michael was looking at very early on. It's definitely not going to be something where we're going to like how The Walking Dead be like, oh, we're going to have this big cliffhanger. Then we're going to have this whole other issue somewhere else.
Find out for like a season and a half.
Yeah, you're going to find out without a swerve, without anything, exactly what was behind there. And we promise you that those red headphones and that Kansas City Chiefs hat on your head are probably both going to blow straight off. That's going to be doing a new crowdfunding just to get a new hat and new headphones because we ruined them.
Yeah, man, these Super Bowl patch hats are $50 freaking. Luckily,
it's crazy.
My dad bought me one because he was like, I know, like my family's been really supportive of like the job situation and like they knew what was going on and so like everybody's been like, I didn't really expect that for like my family and everybody to be like, first everybody's like, I'm so glad you left that job, and I was like, oh, are you? I was like, because like that was like. At first I felt really good. And then like the stress started creeping in of like, I'm fucking 37 and I'm about to like start over and like have to find like a new job and then like, then like that stress kind of took over and it was just kind of scary. But yeah, I've always had a very supportive, really cool family. And I've been much like the people I've met doing Blake's Buzz. I'm very lucky at the people that I cross paths with and come into my life. And I've always been really lucky. with that. But yeah, I don't really. Oh, the hat. So yeah, my dad bought me the hat because he was like, I know you wanted this, and I know you don't have a lot of money right now. And so yeah, that was cool.
That's
so, yeah.
parents for you. I was all ready to buy some NFC Championship gear and Super Bowl gear, but my Niners, it didn't happen. So maybe next year.
Yeah, you know what? Like, so this is from 3 years ago. This is the old championship one, and like, this was 80.
I wish I could get some old championship gear.
Poor long suffering Dolphins fan.
Any championship gear.
Well, what's funny is one of my sisters is a huge Kansas City Chiefs fan, and she actually she's in Oklahoma, but she traveled to California. And we went to a Niners game together. It was when the Niners played the Chiefs in October, and they lost that game. And that was the last game that they lost for like the rest of the season, because after that, Purdy became, that was like the last game that Garoppolo was playing. But it was just funny because we came that close to being like, that was a preview of the Super Bowl. But it's just, Eagles made that not happen. So
yeah.
but I was there, and she was happy because she was a visitor. And her team won, and it was okay. And fortunately, all the fans around us were cool, and we were like oddly seated near a huge group of Chiefs fans. So, so she had, she was able to high five some people and stuff like that when they were doing okay. So, you never know, like when you go to a game and you're rooting for the away team, you never know how like fans are going to be. But everybody was on their best behavior and was cool. So
I feel like because Kansas City is a special place, right? So we're in the Bible Belt, but we're this like little blue speck in the Bible Belt, and like we love the arts here. We love like literature, and it's a very cool big little city kind of, and we've always been good to outside fans. Like my family used to tailgate at Arrowhead. Like everybody had season tickets, and like there was one Thanksgiving where we had Thanksgiving dinner at Arrowhead as a family, like in the parking lot, and then went into the game. And but I mean, we would invite people to eat with, people in like other teams' jerseys, they'd be like, because we would have like my uncle and his friends organized it, but they would set up like tents, and if it was cold, they had propane heaters, and everybody brought food. And we used to have these like veterinary syringes that were like this big, and we'd fill them with Jello shots, and you'd just be like, whoop, and like, and we would invite people to like come hang out, and we'd feed them and have fun. And so, yeah, I
love that stuff. Yeah, that's her and her family. They're season ticket holders, and they tailgate every game. And I have an open invitation to go one of these years and go. And if the Niners next time the Niners play there, I may have to go and hang out and tailgate and experience Arrowhead, which I'm totally fine with. So
yeah, I've heard. So I used to think like everybody's football team did that, but I guess like it's like
no.
Like tailgating at Kansas City is like a special.
It's a thing. It's a thing. There's certain teams that were at the tailgating, and I feel like for whatever reason, the colder the region is, the more they tailgate. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because like you're not going to see that many tailgaters in like Vegas now.
Yeah.
It's too hot.
Yeah, it's I miss that a lot. It sucks now because it's just like, so I remember when my parents had season tickets and the Chiefs were so terrible, and my mom has like a real bad back, right? And so there was a lot of times where like she would be like, I don't want to go to the game, and my dad would be like, well, I'm not going if you're not going. And we would literally like call everybody we knew, like, you guys want Chiefs tickets? You guys want? And people were like, I don't want to go watch the Chiefs. And like, they're like, I remember that vividly, and I remember like all the heartbreak. And so yeah, the last few years have just been crazy, and I'm still not used to it, but I love it. Like it's very ingrained into my family. Like on Sundays, people come over, we cook, we eat, like a lot of my family's Italian, so like we're big on that family
so you're doing all the Sunday stuff already. Family dinners and everything on Sundays. We used to,
anything we can do as an excuse on Sundays. It used to be The Sopranos, when The Sopranos was on HBO. Everybody come over on Sunday, we make these big dinners. Did it for Game of Thrones. We tried to do it with Last of Us, but it's too emotional.
That's fourth generation dyed in the wool Niners fan. Matt is a lifelong
from the
Dolphins
time
fan.
the time the Dolphins got a freaking expansion team in 1966. My family's been a Dolphins fan family ever since.
Yep.
Hey man, loyalty goes a lot. We can all disagree sometimes and have our rivalries.
Oh yeah, but
like loyalty and we got a lot of them now. We got a lot of fair weather fans, and also everybody loves Patrick Mahomes. I feel like
exactly.
He's like
that's what makes
everybody's
hard.
favorite person.
Yeah, that's why I kind of respect Browns fans a lot, because they're just so long suffering and they just hang in there every year. And Lions fans, it's the same thing, and so you gotta, because fair weather fans just drive me nuts, and so and I know you guys have a lot of them right now.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. It's the cool thing to be a Chiefs fan and a Patrick Mahomes fan. But yeah, I was born into it. Like I remember
Me too.
I remember losing to the Colts as a kid, and my dad and my uncle getting so mad, and it scared me. And my dad was kicking my aunt's fireplace, this brick fireplace, and he's like, every fucking year. I was like, why is that so mad?
Stuff, flipping the tables.
No one ever broke a TV.
Somewhere there's a picture of me at 2 years old wearing a Niners cheerleading, little onesie or whatever. So yeah, it's lifelong.
Back when the Dolphins were actually a good team, I remember when they started their downhill slide, they lost to the Patriots when the Patriots went to the Super Bowl. And this is when I was a little kid, and the Dolphins got crushed in the AFC Championship game. And I was so pissed, and my family had to find me. I hid in the closet and just was in the closet, just so stupid refs. So I was so freaking mad. So mad. And they just
that's not mince words here. He still does that today.
I would say there's well, I've learned.
Anyway.
Between my two teams this year, I'm an NC State Wolfpack fan. I got to watch 7 different starting quarterbacks between the Dolphins and the Wolfpack, so I know all about teams that just make you just want to just lose your freaking mind.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I can tell you about going through quarterbacks. So,
especially in the NFC Championship game, where your best option is a quarterback with a freaking busted arm to go back in there.
Our best quarterback was a wide receiver.
Yeah, there's a lot of people got injuries, I feel like injuries are getting worse, man. I mean, I know it's
this was a crazy
season
sport.
For it. People were just dropping like flies, man.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. And I love when you guys come on and we can talk football, because I feel like everybody they're not a lot of football fans in comics. There's a lot of wrestling. Everybody's really into wrestling, and
Matt's in the wrestling too. Matt's in the wrestling too. Yeah, I have noticed that there is a big correlation between wrestling and comics, and I feel like, no offense to anybody, but I feel like it's the whole storytelling, fictional thing a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think it was one of the first things that Matt and I bonded over. One of the first things that he and I bonded over was That's What She Said jokes. But then one of the other things was a love of football.
You ever see the Beavis and Butthead episode where they're told they can't laugh in class?
Yes.
And they just, it kind of builds up and builds up and builds up, and then they go outside. It's just we were on the phone or something like that. We were doing something, and Steph said 5 or 6 things in a row. I was just like, oh my God, that was such a That's What She Said joke. And she kept on saying these things. And I was just
I was waiting to see. That's how I was just like, That's What She Said. I'm like, I have to make this joke, because I make every single That's What She Said joke I possibly can. And I can't hold it back anymore. She goes, that's cool, because I make every That's What She Said joke too. We're like, okay, cool. Yeah. You're an awesome person. Let's keep it. I was like, yeah, I'm a 12-year-old giggling in the back of health class. That's essentially my sense of humor. So.
Matt, if you're a fan of wrestling, I mean, even I've noticed, and I've enjoyed the wrestling comics that have come out in the last couple of years. There's great comics and great stories. Cole and I just talked about DWJ's Do a Powerbomb the other night, which was mind blowing. And have you ever thought about doing a wrestling comic?
So we haven't. Now I will say that we did do a small boxing storyline, and airs the Crossroads Conundrum, there was one little piece of storyline that needed to be in there for a bet that needed to be done. But we haven't really thought about doing one of those just because there are so many people out there doing so many good ones. John Crowther.
So many right now.
John Crowther is a good friend of ours who does so many. There's a lot of different people that are in our close circle that are doing them. We're like, dude, we're just going to let them keep going.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean I don't enjoy them. Jeannie Bassone, the original Hollywood from Glow, the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, is a good friend of ours. And so we have she's a good friend of ours. And so we got to see her comic, because John did the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling or Hollywood story. But yeah, there are definitely a lot of good ones that are out there for sure. I definitely appreciate them that are out there.
Yeah, it shocked me because when I was a kid, I remember wrestling in the 90s when I was a kid, and like Diesel and Razor Ramon, and like the weird will they won't they relationship of Razor Ramon and Goldust, and it's like, are they gonna fuck? Like, I think they might fuck, and Kane and Undertaker and Big Show and Mankind and like before The Rock was doing movies, right? And the fucking jabroni talk and the People's Elbow, and like I loved it, but I kind of fell out of it, and it's so weird because I live on social media, I'm on it way too much, and I sometimes I feel like all I do is like read comics and post on Twitter, but I mean, you gotta, when you're doing this stuff, right? You gotta stay out there and keep the conversation going. But it's so weird on the wrestling event nights when like everybody's talking about it, and I'm just like, what the fuck is everybody talking about?
Well, let me tell you, there's right now one of the best storylines. It's considered the best organic storyline that's probably ever happened in storyline is the current Bloodline storyline. It's been going on for 8 or 9 months. And it was never intended to actually be what it is, but the fans. So Sami Zayn is a part of it, and Roman Reigns and the Usos, and Sami Zayn, the way that he kind of portrayed his character just really resonated with the crowd, and it was really weird watching. Kind of think about like when The Rock became huge, or when Daniel Bryan became huge, and like wrestling world just kind of had to give in to what the fans wanted. Yeah. That's kind of where it's at with the whole Sami Zayn storyline. And the way it's been written and the way it's been played out is like Emmy worthy. Like the acting has just been unbelievable from the wrestlers in the storyline that have really pushed the storyline forward.
So like I have a question that has nothing to do with either of you or the Kickstarter you're writing. So like, if you wanted to get back into wrestling, like I feel like it's kind of intimidating. Like the other day when I went into a card shop and bought Magic the Gathering cards and haven't bought them in a while, right? And I was just like looking around like, oh wow, this is a lot. And people get that same like feeling when they're like, oh, I want to get back into comic books. And you go into a comic shop and you're like, issue 12, issue 14, issue 7, like where's a number 1? Like where do I start? And then but so like if you wanted to get back into wrestling or give it like another whirl, like how, like, I mean, do you just kind of like hop in, or like how do you get caught up with these big, massive, sweeping storylines and new characters that none of us are familiar with?
I would say
that's how I feel when I try to watch it.
I would say right now the hottest things happening, and this wasn't what it was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, AEW was where the hottest storylines were. Right now, the hottest storylines are WWE, and I would say you want to look at the relationship of Cody Rhodes coming back into the WWE. Okay. And you want to go look up, just go online and look up summaries of the Bloodline storyline. There's been big pieces that even the WWE has produced that have gone on organically for the last 9 months. And it's just a really, really good, really fun storyline. If you hear people talking about feeling oozy, the phrase feeling oozy comes from Sami Zayn just off the cuff, just freelancing a line on a live broadcast one time. And you've got the Usos, who were supposed to be the meanest heels at the time, and all of them broke character, and they're all trying to bite their lip and hide their face because they were just laughing because Sami Zayn was going up on these live broadcasts trying to see if he could make them break character. And it was just so hilarious, and it endeared the crowds, endeared the fans. And like I said, I would start there because this is WrestleMania season, so they're building the storylines now to WrestleMania. So you start there, and that's probably going to be the best place to start to really get into some fun storylines.
Okay. I was also shocked because, again, aging myself, but in the 90s, I had to mow lawns, and my friends and I would pool our money together to pay the $50 to $70 pay-per-view fee, right, to like watch it. And we had the big TV at my house, so like, you know, we'd mow lawns in the neighborhood, save our allowance, and then like give my parents the cash, and my parents would order the pay-per-view, and me and the neighborhood kids would like hang out and like watch, you know, like WrestleMania or Royal Rumble or whatever. And now everything's on Peacock. Like it's all with this, I'm like, man, these fucking kids, they don't know.
Back in my day, I had to pay for that.
I'm like, and then I thought about it, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, when I watched a pay-per-view, I had to walk uphill both ways to get to the pay-per-view.
You know how many lawns I had to mow just to watch WrestleMania.
When I watched the pay-per-view, I actually had to pay for it.
Yeah.
You young whippersnappers.
You guys had pizza? We were chewing on rocks. We had rocks and wrestling. That's all we had.
We had to pay for the pay-per-view back in my day.
Because my buddy was watching it, and I was like, because I, you know, thinking about like, you know, how prices change and stuff, and like UFC fights used to be real expensive too. Like when I used to work in a bar, like people would want to have the UFC fight on, and my managers like priced it, and it was like to have it on like multiple TVs and get the license to air it was like thousands of dollars. It was insane. Yeah. And so I asked my buddy, I was like, man, hey, I was like, what is a wrestling pay-per-view cost these days? And he was like, oh, $5.99 a month with Peacock. And I was like, what?
Yeah, I know.
So yeah, it intrigues me, and I've thought about trying to check one out too. But you know, one of my problems again is like, and I'm not complaining because I love what I do, but I have to be careful of like, you know, when I'm doing a lot of shows, when I'm prepping for, and then like I haven't written a review in a while, and so like, you know, my Blake's Buzz to-do list is always pretty big, and I always feel like I'm falling behind, and like, you know, I've been like, you know, like I play a video game or like, you know, like watching a couple episodes of the Shrink Show on Apple, or like I've been trying to watch a couple episodes of Ted Lasso here and there to rewatch it to get ready for the next couple weeks. And like, so yeah, I have to like be careful to like not get too absorbed into something else, because I have to like I have to take a lot of breaks and then go back to like get ready for stuff, because I'm really bad about like finding a new hobby and getting way too into it real fast. And so like if I like got back into wrestling and then like 3 weeks and like no one's heard from Blake and I'm like, I'm all about the bloodline, baby. Like, you know. But so it intrigues me, and I always see people talking about it and having fun, and it is very interesting, the huge crossover. And Steph, I think you're right. Like it's a lot of it is it's that over the top storytelling.
Yep.
That's, you know, it's it's very visual. It's very, you know, it's more just, you know, it's comics are very visual too, but you know, it's just like it's a different way to experience a soap opera. Right. It's like, you know, it's like X-Men comics, you know, is like soap opera with superpowers, and wrestling is like soap opera off the top rope. Right. And
absolutely. They used to call comics back in the day, they used to call it the male soap opera, which of course is, you know, it's too, you know, focused on one gender, but that's essentially what it was back in like the 70s, you know, so.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. But yeah, I feel left out sometimes, you know. And then and like I said, I've read some really great wrestling comics, which I think are done. And I think that's kind of hard too, to like make these wrestling comics to where like people who don't watch wrestling can like very much still be a part of the story and enjoy it. And there's like great characters to get involved in, and the action and stuff looks great. You know, like Hell is a Squared Circle from Chris Condon, who does the Texas Blood series, and like I said, do a power bomb. But I mean, Daniel Warren Johnson could write anything. I would probably read it. But yeah, it's very cool how like you can still be like an outsider, and they bring in John Lees also did it with Crimson Cage, and so it's the whole wrestling comic phenomenon is very intriguing. And sometimes I want to write it. Like I get these, I'm starting to get like an itch to write stuff that's not comic book reviews. But I get real intimidated, and I'm also getting really into manga, and I get really intimidated to write about manga because I feel like I'm like a newbie to it. And I'm like, I have weird mental shit I get hung up on. I totally get in my own way. And
hey man, listen, if you want to write reviews on manga, just hey, you're going to be, you know, the 37-year-old jaded white dude from Kansas City writing on manga, and have that be your shtick.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? You don't have to be the I'm the expert in it. You have to be the I am a random reader.
Yeah.
Do I like this or not? And why do I like it or not? There's no gatekeeping in it. Review what you want to review, write what you want to write.
Yeah. See, and that's what's messed up, man, is because like I hate gatekeeping, and I am an adamant opponent of gatekeeping, and I will gatekeep the ever living shit out of myself. And it's just like I'll just be like, you know, do you really know enough to? So like I said, I get in my own way, and I need to get over a lot of my own bullshit. But long story short, I'm wanting to try and do more like articles on like with my Substack to kind of like try and boost engagement and just, you know, just try and like write different shit, you know, and it's I always get these ideas, and then it like goes, I like see a butterfly and forget about it, or, you know, it's like, but see, I'm trying to get into that, and that wrestling and comic book crossover has been something that really intrigues me, which I guess like that viewpoint as an outsider could also be kind of fun to write about, right? Like, yeah, I have no idea what's going on, but like, this is really interesting. Like when you're like a 6-year-old and you find like your first porno mag, right? You're like, I have feelings about this, but I'm confused.
But I don't understand them.
I do not want to be seeing that review.
Well, guys, I kept you for an hour and a half. It feels like we were only talking for like 5 minutes.
I know. It always does. Every time we come on your show, we love it.
Well, hey, so we've had one person back since we started this. So if we had 3 more backers at any point, it doesn't even have to be during this show. It can be by the time of the end of the night. If we can get to that backer level, if we get to that 25, just to get to those 2 stretches, we're going to make sure we give you something. Even if you don't know the people, it doesn't matter. We're going to make sure that Blake gets some kind of swag out of this.
Charity will be. It'll be
something out of this. So let's see what we can do to get Blake something, and we'll go from there, man.
Man, I hope it happens. Regardless of what I get out of it, I just want more people to like I mentioned. I really do think in today's rocky indie comics environment, I think one of the best things to do is to get a younger audience into the medium. I mean, more and more people. Less people read every year. It's heartbreaking. It's a bummer. And I think comics is a good way to get people to read again, because it's not like I love reading prose, but I read very slow, right? And so like you can read a graphic novel faster than you can read a 400-page novel, and younger audiences might be more apt to check that out. So yeah, I think that. I really hope like my audience, because I mean, obviously I have a filthy mouth and I do and say terrible things. But like, I know a lot of people that follow me have kids, and I know a lot of I've seen them post about having their kids pick out comics on Wednesdays and reading comics to their kids and stuff. And like, if that's you, if you're watching this and that's you, like check this book out. Like I said, it's fun. You'll have fun reading it yourself and or with your child. It'll be a fun experience you can have. The Misfits are a good group of crazy kids and animals, and I want you guys to find success in it, because I want you guys to tell more of these stories. I think you're sitting on a really nice golden nugget that can do a lot of great things for the medium. And so like I want you guys to feel good about it, right? To say like, hey, like we're going to come back and do this again. Like, I don't want it to feel like a chore for you. I want you to stay excited for it and stuff like that. Cause I think you're onto something. And yeah, again, Tales of Isildur #2 was absolutely phenomenal. And I am so, like I said, I got really mad at that cliffhanger. Not mad, just like I was I was in the zone, right? Like I was like, you don't realize it on a tablet. Like when you're holding a physical comic, you can tell when you're getting close to the end, right? It's like you're like, oh, the other side is dwindling. When you're on a tablet, you're just thumbing it, man, and you're like, boom, 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 and then it was like the end advertisement, and I was like, oh, what? No, like, and then I had to like swipe back and make sure I didn't actually double tap or something. But what saved it was the keto advertisement that I just was like, I was like, ooh, yes. Cause I remember when we talked about the first issue, like I was very excited for his character and when he came in and the manga-esque cover that Matt showed earlier, like that beautiful keto cover. And so this seems like a very cool character. You have a very rich cast. So it's like this idea of like pulling out one shots to like expand the mythos. Like, I think that's awesome. You're both so good at world building. And you're just great people, and I love to have you on my show, and I always love talking to you.
We love having you. We love being on your show, and we love everything that you do. And you are a huge supporter of the indie comic world, and we appreciate that, because there's anybody can do a show, but to be an actual supporter and to delve into the worlds of everybody, that's not easy, because you have to do your research. You have to know, you have to discern everybody's stories separately from other people's stories. And so we really appreciate everything that you do. Well,
thank you. It's like I said, I'm very lucky, and I hope I can stay here. I hope I'm like here, like when I'm old and can't remember the comics anymore, right? And I'm like I'm the old grumpy guy on live stream, like falling asleep.
We'll be old and grumpy on here with you. Don't worry.
Well, guys, real quick, we've had the URL going, but I know you guys got like you've got like websites, you've got cool places that your fans can follow you. Real quick, like where's the best place to go to keep track of you guys? Steph, you want to start?
Well, our Kickstarter ends on Thursday, and you can go if you're interested in backing and partaking in the Misfits world. You can see it right there in Matt's name in the caption there. It is tinyurl.com/Misfitz2. Misfits is with a Z. And that campaign is going until Thursday. So you have until Thursday to back and partake in the shenanigans, as we like to say. But as far as social media goes, I will let Matt roll out all of those.
Well, the easiest thing to do now, just go to linktree.com/InSymmetry Creations, INSYMMETRY Creations. You go to that link, and we've got all of our different links there. Our website, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Bandcamp. It's got the 2 metal albums up there. It's got a direct link to all of Steph's articles she's written for Fangoria, Horror Geek Life, Horror Buzz, Daily Dead, Creepy Kingdom. It's got all the different things you'd want to go to our regular store, where if you're somebody that missed the Heirs of Isildur or Tales from Nocturnia campaigns, you want to get in on some of the swag that we've talked about, the 4 different pairs of socks we've done, you can go to our store there as well. There's all those links are at linktree.com/InSymmetry Creations.
Do you guys have a newsletter or anything? Because I'm not subscribed to it. I don't think. If you do,
we do end up sending some stuff out. So definitely, I'll make sure you got that info.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, mostly through email.
Nice. Well, guys, this was, as I mentioned, always a pleasure. Thank you for being tolerant. I'm really sorry about last week.
No, dude.
I know it wasn't my fault, but like it's
no.
You know.
We're flexible, and especially for you, it's no big deal at all.
Well, it was awesome. And Steph, thanks for. I know you said you were going to leave early, but thanks for hanging out.
It's okay.
Always good to talk to you guys.
We went down a rabbit hole, and that's okay. It happens sometimes.
Well, guys, if no one else has anything to say, I'm gonna play the music, and then I'll get online and I'll keep reminding people to back this awesome campaign, because I gotta get to know the shark. I gotta see him solve. I gotta see him solve these oceanic crimes.
Bruce McTuther said, "The robbery at Fishbacks. Let's go."
Everybody, check out Misfitz Clubhouse. It's awesome. Seriously, follow Steph and Matt. Follow InSymmetry. Look up the links that they told you. These are great people making really great comics, and you don't want to miss what they got going on. And that's all I got to say about it. And I'll die on that hill, ladies and gentlemen. Die right there. Have a great night, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you for all my followers. Again, I'm going to be at Planet Comic-Con in a couple weeks, and I'm so excited. Love more, hate less, read comics. I love all you beautiful people.
It's Blake's Buzz Live.